And welcome, everyone. Dustin Harris hanging out with you. Another Appraiser Stories for you today. Boy, it's been a while since we've done one of these. I'm super excited to jump into this. But first, want to remind you, we are sponsored by Alamode Software. Alamode, of course, is the software that I've been using for over 20 years. I can't wait to tell you about it and why you should be using it as well. But right now, you can go to alamode.com or pick up the phone and call them at Alamode. It's 800 Alamode. That's 800 ALAMODE. We're sponsored, of course, by DataMaster. DataMaster offering a free 14-day trial for anyone who wants to check out their software and find out how much time it really will save them on each report. You can go to datamasterfreetrial.com/coach. Once again, datamasterfreetrial.com/coach. And finally, we are sponsored by OREP Insurance today. OREP, of course, is the E&O insurance that I have been using for years, and super happy to tell you about it because of the benefits that it gives to me and will give to you. Go to their website right now, folks. It's orep.org. That's once again orep.org. Well, folks, like I said, kind of teased here at the beginning, we've got another Appraiser Stories, an opportunity for you to get to know an appraiser, one of your peers from across this fruited plain. Today I have with me a good friend of mine, and I say that not just as a throwaway adjective, but truly he is. A friend of mine, Mr. Robert Sanders. Robert, welcome to the program.
Good morning. Thanks for having me.
Oh, it's my pleasure. I appreciate you taking time. You might hear a little bit of traffic noise in the background, folks. He is traveling. He's a very busy appraiser, and he did take time for us, but we'll be on the road during this interview. But looks like the levels are good and should be able to hear Robert just fine. As way of introduction, Robert has been a member of my Dream Team Mastermind, and it's been my privilege to get to know him over the last little while. I do consider him a friend. He is an appraiser that cares about the profession. He's an appraiser that cares about his business and moving forward, and it's always a joy to rub shoulders with individuals such as Robert. So, Robert, once again, thanks for coming on the program. Let's start just by saying, or just have you tell a little bit about your background. Maybe give us, 3 to 5 minutes of background. What brought you into this wonderful profession of ours?
Well, first of all, I want to apologize to everybody. I've got a face for radio and a voice for silent movies. So I'm traveling on purpose to kind of mask my voice a little bit. So I apologize.
Well, and those, I should just say, those who are watching on YouTube can see my ugly mug, but they miss your cute little face since you're on the phone. But that's all right. We'll take it.
That was not unintentional. No, my road to the profession is really kind of a long road. I actually got my bachelor's in music education. I got my master's in music with an emphasis in conducting. And taught band for several years and played in orchestras. I conducted the Capella Wind Symphony for a little while. I played in pit orchestras for musicals such as Cats and the Music Band, and had the opportunity to own my own business. I think most men's dream is to work for themselves. At a young age, I had an opportunity to own a music store, and I thought, well, hey, that's right up my alley. I'm a musician anyway.
There you go.
And so we had opened a music store in Irving, suburb of Dallas, and the market is so big in Dallas that I just got swallowed up. I could put $500,000 into advertising and it would barely even touch the market. You had some major players over there at the time. You had Brooke Mays, you had Guitar Center, you had some others that were well established, Charlie's Guitars over there, and it was just nearly impossible to break into the market. So I kind of got swallowed up, and it was a failed venture. And by that time, I was into my third child. We have 5 daughters. And by the time I got through the music store part of it, we had 3. And going back to teaching was really kind of out of the question because I just couldn't make enough of a living to support a family and allow my wife to be a stay-home mom and raise the children, which is what we we'd always wanted. So I started looking at other options, and I tell you, I thought about it and prayed about it for over a year, and thought about going back to law school, thought about getting my PhD so that I could teach at the college level where the pay is better. And I can tell you, I don't know where, I didn't even know what an appraiser was, but somehow, some way, the thought of appraiser came into my head, and I thought, well, that sounds interesting, but I really don't know anything about it. So I started doing a little research and found a school in Oklahoma City, about an hour and a half south of me. And I thought, well, there's only one way to find out. I'll sign up for a class, and at the very least, I'll just be a little more educated.
There you go.
So I signed up for the class and drove down to Oklahoma City, and within the first 15 minutes of sitting in that class, I knew that's exactly what I wanted to do.
Wow, that's interesting. That's interesting. So, so from there, the biggest challenge that most people have is finding that mentor. Tell us a little bit about that process.
Well, that was in '01, so I barely missed the cutoff for being grandfathered in. So I did have to have a supervisor. If I had been 6 months earlier in Oklahoma, in the state of Oklahoma, the trainee program wasn't in place 6 months prior, and I could have just grandfathered in and sat for my license test. But I did have to have a supervisor. Luckily, I found one fairly easily, but I can tell you that was back in a day where trainees could get work and you could develop personal relationships. And so I got that trainee license, and I just started knocking doors. And I had a couple of relationships already through some people that I went to church with, and I just started knocking doors, and thankfully I got the work, and I went from trainee to state licensed in a year and a half, which was flying.
Wow, yeah, you're ambitious.
Well, I was extremely blessed. I know that's not normal, but it happened for me. So a year and a half in, and I'm state licensed and blowing and going. And
still working for your mentor at that point, or were you ready to go out on your own?
No, at the year and a half mark, I sat for the state license, passed it, and thanked him and went on my way.
Wow. It's and I guess maybe your experience as a business owner probably prepared you a little bit for that, but it's still quite ambitious, I think, to jump both feet into the water after a year and a half of working with someone else, and then go out on your own and say, okay, I are an appraiser and I am going to run this business. So how did that roll out? And tell us a little bit about your business today. Are you residential, commercial? What kind of volume are you doing?
Well, I'm 100% residential right now. I have done some small commercial under $1 million scattered through the years, but not enough to say that I do a percentage of commercial. I say that I'm 100% residential, and if a small commercial comes along that I feel like doing, or then I will take it. But no, for the most part, I'm 100% residential.
Gotcha. Okay, and you're keeping pretty busy then. Tell us a little bit about your office setup, as far as employees, other appraisers that you might be working with, brick and mortar, in home. Kind of paint the picture of what the Robert Sanders appraisal office looks like.
Well, I say I'm a one-man show. I do have one employee at the moment, but that's my wife, and I've been an at-home business for 15 years since I started. Haven't gone brick and mortar. I may in the future. I've kind of got a 1 year, 3 year, and 5 year plan set out, and brick and mortar might be in the 3 to 5 year plan. But for now, I'm fine getting my wife up to speed so that she can take some hours off of my plate. The more hours that are taken off my plate, the more business I can bring in.
There you go.
The more business I can bring in, the more work I can have for somebody else to do. She doesn't want to be a full-time employee. So within the next few months, once she's up to speed and I get several of these hours off my plate, my next goal is for a second assistant, and just kind of grow from there. But I went to excuse me, I went to an estate sale about 2 or 3 months ago and found a beautiful 100-year-old bird's eye maple partner's desk. I don't know if you've seen them, but a partner's desk is extra wide and it looks identical on both sides.
Very cool.
So that you can have two full setups facing each other. And so I got that and got it up into my office and got her set up on her side, got a computer and got her all set up. So yeah,
well, at least you have something nice to look at all day.
That's right. That's right. 2 30-inch monitors.
Oh, very cool. Very cool. I love it. I love it. So tell us a little bit about your area. You're there kind of in the Midwest. Tell me a little bit about your area and what makes it unique. Keep in mind that listeners are from across the nation. They're from a variety of different geographies. What makes your particular place of business or area that you work in unique?
I cover most of northeast Oklahoma. If you were to put a tack in Tulsa and draw about an hour and a half radius around it, that would pretty much be my area.
Gotcha.
This part of Oklahoma is called Green Country. It's what all of Oklahoma knows it as, and a lot of southwestern Missouri and northwestern Arkansas refers to this area as Green Country. It's kind of a rolling terrain, but we don't have any mountains. We don't have a lot of flat land like western Oklahoma. We don't have any desert. We do have lots of lakes and just kind of a rolling terrain. It's real beautiful.
Yeah.
But it's not desert and mountains like Arizona. It's not greenery and mountains like Idaho. Our winters are mild. If we get 1 or 2 snows a year, that's a pretty bad winter.
Wow.
But we have several lakes. I can drive 30 to 45 minutes in any direction and hit a major lake.
Wow. So do you appraise a lot of lakefront property then?
Well, not as much as you would think, because in Oklahoma, almost all of the lakes are owned by the Corps of Engineers.
Oh, interesting.
So there's a 200-foot border that runs around the lake that cannot be owned by anybody. So if you have a, quote, lakefront property, it's not really lakefront because the closest you can be is 200 feet from the water.
Okay. Wow. Interesting.
But the Corps will sell dock permits. They will allow you to build a dock and sell you a permit to have a dock, and they will allow you to use their land for access to the water, but you don't own it.
I see. That's interesting, man. That's I've seen similar setups, but not as a general rule of thumb.
Yeah, and that's most of the lakes in Oklahoma are that way.
Huh.
So
interesting.
you can buy a dock permit, you can build a dock, you can spend $10,000 to $50,000 building a dock, and it's your dock, but it's attached to the Corps land, which means if the Corps ever needs to come through and do any work, they can take your dock out without question.
Gee, sounds like a gamble at best, right? That's funny.
It rarely happens, but it could.
Yeah.
It's kind of like that 15-foot utility easement that runs through the back of your yard.
Right, that you don't think they'll ever do anything with, right?
And you decide to put a koi pond or build a real nice fort for your kids, or put in an in-ground pool, and you can do that, but that easement's still there.
Right, right. That's funny. All right, friends. So you've been doing this long enough. Let's get fun here for a second. I want you to tell us maybe a disturbing or scary encounter that you'd had as an appraiser.
Well, you sent me the list of questions, and I've listened to all of your podcasts, every single one of them, so I'm familiar with the Appraiser Stories. And when you and I agreed to do this, I had my disturbing story in my mind, and the very next week,
You had a more disturbing.
I had one that actually disturbed me more.
Wow. Okay.
The first one that I was going to tell you is several years ago. This was 5, 6 years ago. There's an area of Tulsa that is, how do you say, little higher crime, little more dangerous. You probably want to be armed if you're going to go, and I am. I always am. That's probably another topic for another time. But yeah, I'm a believer in it. I do have my concealed carry, so you can pretty much figure if it's legal for me to have it, I have it.
Okay. All right.
So but I'm not looking for a problem, and I
Sure,
will avoid
of
it
course.
at all costs. But I'm going into this area, and I'm driving down the street, and there's a group of about 5 or 6 young men on a street corner, kind of hovered around a car. And as I'm pulling down the street, all of them kind of perk up, turn toward me, and 3 of them pull weapons out.
Wow.
Yeah, letting me know that I did not belong there.
Uh-huh.
So I promptly put it in reverse and backed out of the neighborhood.
Yeah, quickly, I would assume.
But believe it or not, that didn't disturb me as much as what happened about a week and a half ago. Because in a situation like that, I had another one several years ago that it was a foreclosed home, and I pulled up to it, and I couldn't pull in the driveway because somebody had dropped a tree across the driveway. So I parked outside of the fallen tree, and I get out of the truck, and as I'm walking to the house, I hear somebody holler out the window, "Don't come any closer or I'll shoot you."
Holy moly.
Well, I mean, that's a no-brainer. I don't
Let me think. Should I come closer or not?
So, I mean, I can get out of those situations. What happened to me a week and a half ago was I was there's another foreclosed home. I'm there by myself. I'm doing the inspection. It's time to go to the attic. And I get about 3/4 of the way up the drop stair, and the rung that I'm standing on breaks.
Oh, no.
And the force of me falling, my weight, and the force of me falling caused the next 2 rungs to break.
Uh-huh.
So I'm headed down this drop stair with the rungs breaking, and what's left of the finish nails that were holding the rungs in place are now shredding the sides of my legs, and I make it down to the next to the last rung, and my feet get caught, and it flips me backwards, and I slam backwards into the concrete in the garage.
Oh my gosh, Robert.
Yeah, and the reason that disturbed me is because I'm laying there, and the wind's knocked out of me, my legs are shredded. I'm in enough pain that I really don't want to look and see what kind of damage has been caused. And I realize that I'm laying there completely alone.
Oh, no.
That's disturbing.
Yeah, yeah. So this was a vacant, did you say foreclosed home?
Yes.
So what did you do? I mean, you got to tell the end of the story, man.
Well, thankfully, I laid there for about 10 minutes and kind of gathered my wits about me and checked myself and saw that, yes, I was bleeding from both legs, but none of them were bad enough to have stitches. And I was able to get myself up and around and finish what I was doing and get back home under my own volition. But the disturbing part was the fact that had it been any worse, I have no idea how long I would have been laying there.
Holy cow! Wow, I'm glad it wasn't worse than it was, man. But it doesn't sound fun. Let's lighten the mood a little bit. Tell me, because that definitely was not funny. Tell me something humorous that you've encountered as an appraiser.
Most of the humorous things were when a couple of my daughters were younger and they would go to work with me. And we had several humorous times. It wasn't dealing with a homeowner per se, or every once in a while I'll pull a bonehead move and I just kind of laugh at myself. But several of my daughters when they were younger, when you've got little kids, there's a time when they just absolutely love to be with you, and then they get to the age where they absolutely don't want to be with you.
Yeah, been there, done that. Yeah.
Well, when they were at the ages where they really loved to be with me, it was always humorous to me to take them and just see the excitement in their eyes that they were at a new place to explore. It didn't matter what kind of house it was. They were just excited to go explore, check the attic, check the bedrooms, and climb on everything. They do cartwheels and somersaults, and those were fun times.
Yeah. Yeah, I'll tell you, there's nothing quite like this job. Well, I shouldn't say that. There's probably other jobs that are similar, but I love the fact that I'm so flexible. First of all, I don't have to ask my boss whether or not I can take my kid to work because I am my boss. Second of all, the flexibility that this job gives is just amazing. I've been on incredible trips with my kids, just taking comp photos or going out for an inspection. Sometimes I'll take them in, sometimes I won't, just depending on the situation. But man, I'm glad you brought that up because I think that's one of the great joys of our profession.
It really is. And we'd go to a lake house, and they'd ooh and ah over the massive back deck overlooking the water. Or we'd go to Midtown Tulsa, where the old original oil money. You got some monster houses built back at the turn of the century that are just gorgeous. Just their eyes light up, and they're so excited to check it out and run around. Those are fun times. I don't really have an anecdotal humorous story, but to me those times were fun. They were humorous because I always got a kick out of seeing them.
I love it. So two-part question here, Robert. They both have to do with the future, but I'm kind of curious as to what your outlook is on the profession, appraisal profession in whole, in general, in the next 3 to 5 years. Where do you see us as a profession going? But more specifically, the second part of the question is, where do you see you, Robert Sanders, in your appraisal office during that same time period?
The profession as a whole, I believe it might change a little, but I certainly don't believe we're going anywhere.
Nice. I love that.
There's just no computer, no program, no machine that can analyze. They can crunch numbers, they can do algorithms, but they can't do critical thinking.
Yeah.
And for that reason, there's always going to have a human element involved. So for that reason, I don't believe we're going anywhere.
Good.
Our roles might change a little along the way, but they've changed in the 15 years I've been in. They've changed tremendously. And if you're older than I am in the profession, if you're a 25, 30-year vet, oh my gosh, you've changed from Green Hornets and typewriters
Yeah. Well, you know what's funny about that, Robert, is there's listeners right now going, "What the hell did he just say? What's a green hornet?" And I'm just going to leave it at that. They can look it up. That's called Google, man.
As far as myself, in the next 3 to 5, I see some pretty big changes. Actually, since being a part of your mastermind team, I've really got to focus on where I'm at versus where I want to be. I've purchased several web domain names, and my intention is to get to a point to where I've got a support staff, which frees up enough hours that I can increase my volume, but also create a much better website that I have now, to create a blog. I've got some web domains that are just awesome that I'm going to tie all together and point in the same direction. Create a blog off of that with my website, do Facebook pages, and just try to develop some more local business so that all my eggs aren't in the AMC basket. And for 3 to 5 years, I see being able to do that because within 1 year, I'm going to have my wife plus one assistant. Within 3 years, I see 2 assistants and somebody who can do what I do.
That's awesome. That is ambitious.
Yeah, it is, but it's doable. And if I've got 2 assistants and somebody who can do what I do, then I've got all of the doors that I want open should open, and I will be able to diversify more, be able to do the blog, the websites, the social media, drive local business, local lenders, local realtors. I want to be the go-to guy in my market for answers, but right now I just don't have the time for it.
Sure, I hear you. I hear you. Well, it looks like you're on the road. You talked a little bit about your background, your experiences that have led you to this point. What would you consider your biggest failure, Robert?
My biggest failure, well, I discussed earlier that I had the music store and it failed, but I don't feel like that's actually my biggest failure. I feel like my biggest failure came in the appraisal profession, because I told you how I started, and within a year and a half I went from trainee to state licensed.
Mm-hmm.
In my market at that time, you could count on 2 hands the number of $1 million houses we have around here. We just don't have hardly any. So state licensed allows you to do residential properties up to $1 million. And since there hardly aren't very many at all in my market, that was all I felt like I needed. And I was as busy as I could be. I was state licensed, and I was just as busy as I could possibly be. But as you know, we had a housing crash in 07, 08. And with that crash, Fannie started the ball rolling, and everybody followed suit. And Fannie came out and made the announcement that they were no longer going to accept appraisals by anybody who was less than certified. And as soon as they did that, every major player followed suit. So here I am sitting state licensed and lost 75% of my business overnight.
Wow.
Because I didn't
read the tea leaves.
Yeah, I didn't. I didn't take the time to step up to certified, which I could have done years prior.
Right.
Plenty of experience, plenty of hours, plenty of education. I'd done it all. I've got 2 degrees, so education requirements didn't mean anything. I didn't have to have the equivalent of anything. I actually had it. But because, like I said, there was very few houses over $1 million, I felt like state license was good enough for me.
Right. Overkill.
I didn't realize that that certified opened a whole lot of other doors also. But that when that happened, I lost 75% of my business overnight, and I spent the next 12 months doing two things. One, taking all of the necessary education and sitting for my certified test, while at the same time wondering if we were going to be able to keep the house, keep the cars, and keep food on the table.
Yeah, yeah. Well, let's flip this on its head. Biggest success, Robert?
The excuse me. The biggest success is on the heels of the biggest failure.
Yeah.
The biggest success is going through that trial and tribulation and coming out the other side certified, and almost as soon as I became certified, all of the business came back plus some.
It's so interesting how often we have that situation where we take a situation that can be just detrimental to our business, to ourselves, and turn it into a success. Robert, of course, is an example of that. Another example of that is the individuals that I have an opportunity to coach throughout the country who have taken what they have and then improved it for the better. For example, what software are you using right now? What software are you using to type your appraisal reports to help you? And, I use that term loosely, type your appraisal reports. Anybody can type an appraisal report, but do you have the tools that you need to be completely successful in what you do? What about taking what you have and improving on it by looking at Alamode? Alamode Software is the leader in the industry. They have been for many, many years. They've been doing this for over 30 years. You can check them out by going to their website. It's alamode.com, or you can call them. Just pick up the phone. It's 800-ALAMODE. They are great people. They will talk to you. They will answer your questions. They will help you to move in the right direction. Speaking of the right direction, where are you at with your E&O insurance? Are you right now happy with the E&O provider that you have? And I know a lot of you just don't, we don't think about it on a day-to-day basis. We maybe think about it on renewal, but what if you had a resource that you could go to on a regular basis, not only for coverage, but also for education, also for the benefits that are beyond just the coverage of insurance. Folks, everything I just described can be and is found in OREP Insurance. If you've not been on their website, I highly encourage that you do so. Compare their website to other websites. You will find that they offer so much more to their members. You can go to orep.org, that's OREP.org. And finally, are you ready to save 30 to 60 minutes per report on every single appraisal report that you do? Folks, if you're not using or haven't checked out DataMaster, I highly, highly recommend that you do. Folks, write this down. It's kind of long, but it's worth it. The address is datamasterfreetrial.com/coach. Again, datamasterfreetrial.com/coach. And you can check out why it is that appraisers using DataMaster save so much time. Folks, we spend so much time either printing out or looking at another monitor and then typing the same data right into our report. DataMaster will save you the time, save you the energy in doing that yourself. It will do it for you in about 60 seconds. That's right, save 60 minutes for by clicking a button and waiting 60 seconds. That's what DataMaster will do for you. Once again, it's datamasterfreetrial.com/coach. And welcome back, folks. We are joined by Mr. Robert Sanders in Oklahoma. Robert, sounds like you're done traveling. I don't hear any noise in the background anymore.
No, I'm done traveling. I'm sitting at my desk.
Nice, love it. Okay, so let's talk about this. You've been in this business a long time. If you were asked one helpful tip that you could give appraisers across the country, I know you could give 100, but let's narrow it down. Give us one thing that you think every appraiser should know.
Oh, can I give you two?
All right. Well, twist my arm.
You're right. I could give you 100, but I'd like to give you two. The first one is know what you're working for.
Explain.
And what I mean by that is there are so many people that work because they're supposed to work and to pay the bills. But they don't really know what they're working for. They don't really have something that they're working for. What I'm working for is to be able to enjoy my life with my family and to be able to see as many places as I can before they put me 6 feet under.
I love it. I love it.
But yours might be something different. But find a passion that you can work for. And my second.
And I would. Sorry, continue, and then I've got a little something to add there.
No, go ahead. Go ahead.
Well, I just, the book that comes to mind as you talk about that is Simon Sinek's Start with the Why. If you've not read that book, folks, listeners, pick it up, because exactly what Robert is explaining is, I mean, if you don't know why you get up in the morning and go to your job, you need to find that out. And that book will help you not only see the reason behind wanting to know why you do what you do, but help you to do it.
Absolutely. Yeah, great read.
Yeah. All right, number 2.
And then the number 2 would be travel.
I love it.
There are so many people. I mean, you just in the daily grind. You're in a rut. You're in a routine, and there is a huge world out there. And you don't have to spend a ton of money. You can if you have it. I mean, you don't have to, but travel, enjoy going places. Get your wife, get your kids, or your husband if you're a woman. Sorry, I didn't mean for that to come out sexist, but get and go see the world. Just this year we're 9 months into the year. In 2017, I've been to Mexico 3 times. I've been to New Orleans. I've been to Branson 6 times. I've been to Dallas twice, and I still average 40 appraisals a month.
Wow. People want to know how you do that, Robert.
Well, time management and know your why.
Yeah.
I know my why. I mean, I could do more, but I mean, I'm plenty busy. I don't work very many weekends. I start early. I start about 7 o'clock in the morning, and I'll work till 6 o'clock in the evening. So I'm putting in 11-hour days.
Yeah.
So it's quite a few hours. But if I want to take 3 or 4 days off, I work it in, and I'll take 3 or 4 days and go somewhere.
Love it. Okay, friend, as we wrap up here, you ready for the lightning round?
Sure.
All right, here we go. Question number 1, inside out or outside in?
Outside in.
Tape roller or laser?
Laser.
Good. Tablet computer or clipboard and pen?
Yes.
Okay, explain.
I have been clipboard and pen for 15 years, and I have been telling you and myself to go mobile for a little over 6 months, and I am in the middle of my 10-house challenge right now.
Nice. I love it. I can't wait to hear the outcome of that. So, appraisal software.
All mode.
Very good. Favorite thing to do when you're not appraising? Maybe you already answered this, but go for it.
Traveling.
I love it.
To travel.
Yeah. What speed do you listen to the Appraiser Coach podcast on?
Just regular speed. I want to absorb every
Yeah,
word.
there you go. Yeah, nice answer. And your one goal for the year?
My 1-year goal is to have 2 assistants. That's my 1 year.
Love it. Robert Sanders from Oklahoma. Thank you, friend, for joining us today, for taking time. I really appreciate it. You got a great story to tell, and I've loved chatting with you today.
Oh, thanks for having me. I enjoyed it, Dustin.
Very good. That was Robert Sanders from Oklahoma, a member of my my Dream Team Mastermind. Folks, if you want to take your appraisal business to the next level, we do have 6 masterminds across the country. Sometimes there's a waiting list, sometimes there's not. But one of the things that I found that a lot of people are doing now, if there is, a full mastermind with a waiting list, what some are doing is they're joining a different mastermind, and they will, of course, will get priority first before anybody else on the waiting list for the city that they're looking at. So if you're in one of these cities that has a full mastermind with a waiting list, consider joining one of the other masterminds in the interim. We do have changeover. We do have extra seats that come up every once in a while, and we would love to have you be a part of it. Check us out. Just go to the website, go to theappraisercoach.com, and just click through the menu items till you get to the mastermind. Read about it there. I will just tell you the 6 masterminds that we have
currently are in Washington, D.C., Chicago, Salt Lake City. There are 2 in Las Vegas and 1 in Dallas. If one of those appeals to you, please reach out to me. Just email me at thecoach@theappraisercoach.com, and we'll catch you next time.